Now for 4 months we have been shouting and we have been making public aware and we have been making the politicians aware about the issues that we can see in the power sector. To start with, now let me just brief you. We have what we have in the National Energy Policy. We have a vision as CEB and as a country in terms of power sector. By 2050, we have to achieve a target of carbon neutrality by 2050. And in that endeavor, so we have our targets of absorbing renewable energy as much as possible to the system in order to reduce the cost of generation. And there we have several targets being set by the authorities. By 2030, we have to achieve more than 55 or 70% of generation through renewable energy. So we have targets. And CEB is one of the main organizations in the country where it has a long-term generation expansion plan being prepared every 2 years for the next 20 years. That clearly mention what are the power plants that are required in order to reduce the cost of generation and so on. So then how this LNG matter comes in. In our endeavor, in our pathway to reduce cost of generation and to achieve carbon neutrality, the current state of high carbon state to the low carbon or the carbon zero situation, we go through a transition fuel. The liquefied natural gas is used as a transition fuel for the next 10 to 15 years in our path to achieve more carbon neutral system. So as per that requirement, we have devised our plans, long-term generation expansion plans, to convert our existing power plants in Kalnitissa complex to LNG, which are now run on fossil fuel. And also the existing the Keralpatti complex, we have the West Coast power plant that is now on debate. So that of course is almost LNG ready. And then we have another Sobadanavi power plant in the Keralpatti complex, which the construction has begun. And there will be another 350 megawatt plant now has been tendered. Now all these will be LNG. The main fuel will be LNG in future. So they will be ready for regasified LNG. So now we all know as engineers, we also believe that we need to get LNG, the regasified liquefied natural gas. Now, in fact, what these power plants require is the gas, natural gas. But in Sri Lanka, still we have not been able to explore or find the natural gas. In fact, that is being explored that in Mena Basin. Hope that will be a reality very soon. Until that, we have to anyway bring LNG to this country. Because LNG is the next low carbon emission, environment friendly fuel when you compare it with other fossil fuels. So we have to go for that. The world is going for that. With the renewable energy, the LNG is used as a transition fuel. That is the trend. So now how we can get LNG is the very important question. Because now you see the 5 years, 10 years, the Sri Lankan power system will be determined by the large capacity of LNG power plants. Now by 2030, we expect 4,500 megawatt of peak power demand. And very soon, half of the power requirement in this country will be fed by LNG power plants. So this LNG fuel procurement supply is going to be a very critical aspect. So in that endeavor, the national policy guideline in this country very clearly mentioned, which is the latest one was issued in 2019. The procurement of LNG has to be under state control. Why? It's very important. Because that determines everything. Because it's a massive business, this LNG procurement. And before LNG procurement, there are other infrastructure that we have to develop as a country in order to make the country LNG import ready. Now we need infrastructure. Now what are the three main things that are necessary when it comes to LNG? Number one, for a country like us, we need a FSRU, floating storage regasification unit. It's a floating ship, vessel of the shore. And then we need pipelines from that floating ship to the ground where the power stations are. And then we need LNG procurement. So these are three things. Now that the national energy policy in this country clearly mentioned These three things should not be bundled together and give to one party. That is not good for the energy security in this country. Now you take, for example, India, the closest country. India, the pipelines is operated by a company called GAIL. It's a government, 100% government-owned company. And the LNG, the supply is also done by a government-owned company. So if India is doing that, why don't we take that example in this country? Why we are giving everything to a private organization, or namely New Fortress Energy? So this is not good. So clearly this is in violation of our national energy policy. Not only that. Now, we have our Sri Lanka Electricity Act number 20 of 2009, which clearly states, that act clearly states that we have to, the electricity has to be procured and the fuel has to be procured in such a manner that ensures least cost of power generation. Now, to ensure least cost of power generation, the fuel that we have to procure or purchase should be on competitive tender, should be on competitive. If something on competitive bids are called only, we can get the lowest prices. Now take for example, what is the situation in the wind power sector in this country? So those days, the wind power plant, we had been giving 22 rupees per unit. Now because we went for tendering, now take for example the Mannar wind power plant. Now the price has come down to 7 to 8 rupees per unit. That is because of the competitive tendering. Now similarly, the LNG procurement also, we have to go for competitive tendering. Now because of that requirement, now the CEB very clearly, after getting the cabinet approvals, had started a competitive tendering process first for infrastructure, the FSRU, and the pipelines. Pipelines, the tender is done by the Ceylon, the Petroleum Corporation. The FSRU, or the floating vessel, and the mooring system is done by the sea. And after infrastructure, these two are set up only, then we will call for the next tender for LNG procurement. Because all the feasibility studies now has been done. Everything just after setting up the infrastructure, it's a matter of just calling the LNG tender. So now that infrastructure tender, now it is ongoing, and it is now in the final stage of negotiation with the lowest evaluated, substantially responsive bidder. Now it is in the final stage. Now in that backdrop, here a company called New Fortress Energy, a USA company, now is going to have a deal with the finance ministry. Now they have signed a certain agreements, framework agreements. Now why this country has a procurement guidelines? A procurement manual, procurement guidelines issued, because it is to ensure that we can get the procurement to ensure the least cost. That is why procurement guidelines is there. So when we have a tender going on, in following that procurement tender, here comes an unsolicited proposal that will undermine the whole government procurement process. This is illegal. This is not legal. That is why 12 of our engineers, they went to Supreme Court, and after that, so they were followed by several other sets of people. There are about 5 or 6 fundamental rights cases, very rightly. Because now we engineers, we have to come forward to save our nation through these deals. We have calculated, our engineers have calculated, had this proposal of NFE being implemented, the loss for the country for the next 5 years only will be more than $600 million US. Now here we are talking about a Yugadanavi deal, just getting $250 million US in exchange of, or in selling of 40% of shares, government shares. Now, in order for that agreement, here the New Fortress Energy is asking, we'll give $250 million US, but we need, you all have to give us the sole rights or the rights of first refusal or the LNG supply for this country for the next 5 years. Now, this is telling at a time that ongoing competitive bid, government bid is going on. Now, do you believe that after 5 years, will they just stop and hand over and they will go home? They will not do it. They were very strong enough, this company, to creep into this system at a time of competitive bidding is going on. Now, after 5 years, they will not go. That will extend the very favorable conditions are there in that framework agreement that has been put to the put as a cabinet paper. We saw so it. This is not a conducive environment. So we engineers, we can't just keep silent. We came through this free education system. We are asking to save our country from these illegal deals. So now, instead, what the authorities have done, so they created opportunities in such a way to facilitate these illegal deals. They changed the minister, the subject minister. They changed the former chairman. Now they are going to change our senior engineers, senior additional general managers, who have clearly shown the repercussions of signing these kind of agreements. That is why we are here. We can't tolerate anymore. So we have started a non-cooperation, and now we have escalated to a work rule action. You all may have heard in 1996, only the engineers union have resorted to a general strike, if I may correct. It's a general strike. And this may be, we will request the government and the authorities not to allow us to go to that extent, not to disturb our public. So we have to be very careful. So that is why we kindly request that our demands are met. Demands of the request of New Fortress deal to be stopped, and our senior engineers should not be transferred in an ad hoc manner. And our CB, the traditions, the systems that have been maintained for 50 years can't be changed in a manner that the political interferences can be very easily entered to the system. We should not entertain such that. So we will not allow those things. So thank you very much.